Have you ever poured your heart into social media, a new logo, or even paid for ads, only to hear crickets? You're not alone. Marketing today feels louder than ever, but louder doesn't mean clearer. If you're trying to build a brand, attract clients, or grow your business, figuring out what actually works can feel like decoding a secret language. Today's episode is going to change that. Welcome back to the Pauline Chilton Show, the podcast where we dive into real estate, entrepreneurship, and the strategies that fuel success. Today, we are talking marketing, but not just any marketing. We're cutting through the noise and getting into what actually works to build a brand, attract high value clients, and scale your business the right way. And to help us do that, I'm thrilled to introduce Rhiannon Franz, a true marketing powerhouse with 20 plus years of experience at top New York City and Los Angeles ad agencies. Rhiannon has worked with some of the biggest brands out there. Now, as the founder of RhiVive Marketing, she's helping personal brands, founders, and service providers turn their expertise into marketing machines that drive real results without the wasted time, guesswork, or fluff. If you've ever felt overwhelmed by marketing, unsure where to start, or frustrated by strategies that don't convert, this episode is for you. Rhiannon is about to break down exactly how to get more visibility, more conversions, and more scalable growth. So get ready to take notes. Let's dive in.
Thank you so much, Pauline. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you for being here, Rhiannon. Marketing versus advertising and branding. What's the real difference? A lot of people tend to lump marketing, advertising, and branding all together, but they each play very different roles in building a business. Can you break down the difference between the three and why understanding those differences is so important for entrepreneurs and personal brands?
Absolutely. That's a great question. I find that a lot of people come to me wanting advertising. And I have to say, no, 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 no. That's not where we start. We start with branding. And people are like, what are you talking about, Rhiannon? And that's okay. I come from advertising. So working at the big agencies, New York, LA, you were mentioning, worked in specifically advertising and working in media buying. So when people come to me and they're like, oh, I want to boost my Facebook post for $200 and I want to, run my Google search ads for $500. I'm like, what are you boosting? What is your keyword search? There's a whole strategy that goes into paid ads that's like step number 10,000, not step number 1. So as much as Instagram loves to give you a little like, just boost this post for $5, that $5 is just going to be a wash if you don't have all these other things first. So the real difference, to think of it, or sort of an easy way, is like branding is first. You need to think of your brand message, what you stand for. This isn't just necessarily like, oh, my company's mission and values. It's like your mission and values. What do you stand for? What do you believe? This comes down a lot. I find my clients are a lot of ex-corporate, now moved into being a service provider. And we're so used to thinking like, oh, this is the company's mission and values. And it's like, no, what are your mission and values? You can have a business and you can have these things, but if you don't keep coming back to those core mission and values, you're gonna keep following these shiny object syndromes and not sure exactly what you're marketing, right? So your brand is first. That's what you got to be rooted in and what your fundamentals are about. Then you can move into marketing and you can figure out what's your packages, what's your pricing, what things are you selling, how are you selling them. That is your marketing. That's going to look at your packages. That could be marketing as far as your social media. It could be emails, right? But the first step of marketing is like, what are you selling? How are you packaging it? What does that pricing look like? Then you move into advertising. Then you could push out your message or boost a post or, pay for something. But advertising should come last. And I find that time and again with clients is it's like, oh, but this is what my ad looks like. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. Like, let's start with branding first.
When someone's just starting to grow their brand or business, should their first focus be on building visibility through strong branding and position? Or, like you said, marketing should be last? Where's the smartest place to begin?
Okay, so it still comes down to brand first as far as what it is that, okay, let's take an example. I had a coach that was she wanted to offer a dating coaching service through courses. Coursework and course creation is a huge, business right now, and it's booming. That being said, she had some videos that she'd created on YouTube and she had an idea of a price, but she wasn't sure how to package it. What does it look like? What does it mean? What does it stand for? And really this comes into positioning, which is one of the things you introed with, right? Like, is your positioning. The hard part about creating your brand is because as humans, it's hard to read the label on the outside of the jar when you're in it, right? And that is just, it's hard for me as a marketer to do that for myself, okay? But you have to think about the person who's reading your label, okay? What are you telling them? What is the message on the outside of the jar? So if you're walking down an aisle, right, what kind of things are you looking for? What is the thing that's going to make you buy? You have to actually put yourself in your audience's shoes. So a lot of times I like to do a physical, like I'm going to put my audience hat on, okay, and I'm going to think like them. What do they want? What do they care about? What do they need? Okay, so my dating coach, she had great coursework and she had a great message, but I had to dig into fundamentally what it was that she was trying to do. And really, it was her saying, look, I have had years of experience in working and making my career and building up this life that I had created. And I thought it was with this particular partner. And I thought that we had this whole, thing going. And then, you know, things happen and we broke up and then my life changed. And so I just want to help women who are going through like life changes of figuring out career and family and future. Like, how do I help these women figure that stuff out? And so through the messaging, what we came up with is it's more about like that future visioning and loving yourself first. So that became the message. So Kathy's Love Magic is a website and you can buy her course for $47 and you'll see that her course materials are very clearly laid out, speaking to these pain points, speaking to her story. Like, why would you believe her over somebody else? And it's like, oh, she's had these experiences and she's teaching you so that you feel like you can sidestep all the stuff that she learned. And 6 easy courses and $47, right? And her whole thing was like, I don't even care if I like make like a lot of money off of this. Like, I just want to help people. And so taking that brand, and this message that she wanted to do, and then speaking to people's pain points and saying, hey, this is how I can help you sidestep all that stuff by figuring out through her coursework and her online videos of like connecting back to yourself. And then the message breaks through. Now it's different. Now it's not just a dating coach. Now it's not just like an online course for $47. It's like, oh, damn, I want to go see what Kathy has to say. And I want to do her worksheets. And I want to like understand myself better so that I can learn from her and avoid all of those mistakes. See, so that's the brand. And that's making sure that you are clear on your mission, your values, and what it is that you're trying to get across, and then speaking to that audience's pain points. Then we can go into marketing and what the like packages and pricing and courses and what that all looks like.
Kathy's Love Magic. I love that. It's a brilliant name for her business.
Yes, exactly. I had a great time working with her. And then through the branding and marketing I created like her brand. So she lives in Phoenix, for example. So I flew to Phoenix and we did a photo shoot, a lifestyle shoot for her. We did her hair, her makeup, we styled her clothes, we took her photographs, and she could like look back at herself and be like, dang, that's what I look like. Okay. Like I know what I'm talking about, but she felt empowered like through that session. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put this out there. I'm gonna have this website. I'm gonna have my face on it, like, cause it is her, right? So I can't use stock photography on Kathy's Love Magic. It's got to be Kathy. So that's what was really cool about like empowering her to feel comfortable behind the camera, to feel comfortable having her, branded on her website. And she felt like, okay, now I can also go talk about this and I feel proud of this. And that's the transformation. And that's when you start getting the marketing together where you go, okay, this is the colors and the schemes and the packaging to go, okay. She was like, I will hand out these business cards. And I have been like, she was like, I have been afraid to tell people about it. And now she was like ready to go hand out business cards that, have her branding on it. And that like warmed my heart that she felt empowered to like market her product after we had created this specific brand for her.
That is such a touching story. And I felt that right here too. That's a very touching story. And it's so nice that she could put her name and her face and herself into this business. So we hear stories all the time about people spending thousands on ads with little to show for it. From your experience, what's the biggest mistake people make when they try to use paid ads before their brand is really dialed in?
Yeah, so I think it comes down to our marketplace today, like just us, like as humans, we are bombarded with so much stuff, right? So how do you break through? How do you become visible? How do people remember you? Well, it comes through like, media terminology would be like reach and frequency. Are you reaching a certain amount of number with a certain number of frequency? And there's all this math that goes behind it. For typical paid ads, you want to have a certain, say, 7-time frequency against this X reach, and this costs this much money. Like the regular average service provider doesn't need to know all of that, like media jargon. But what to really understand is that when you're talking about paid ads, the consumer is going to check your website. They're going to check your social media. They're going to check if you're legit or not before they buy a service from you anyway. So thinking of yourself like a consumer, again, putting on that audience hat is going to get you 100 times further than just spending money on a paid ad, because you're swimming with the big fish. You're swimming with advertisers spending hundreds of millions of dollars on these platforms to get those high reach and frequency numbers. Like you can't compete with that. So what is happening right now is a shift in our marketplace where content creators like you, Pauline, like me, like actually creating valuable content, new creators are getting more reach naturally. So this is my big advice to anyone out there. Like, go put your content on social media. Go talk, go share. I shared a LinkedIn post on Monday that was like, copy me. Say whatever I'm saying. Like, I'm fine with it because we're not really saying anything like new or, totally earth-shatteringly different. If you're in a specific field, then you hear other people echoing similar things about that field, but you could be the loudest. You could be the one that's breaking through, saying it in a nuanced, different way. I'm amplifying voices of things that I've heard, right? So it's really about putting your voice out there. One, what is your brand, right? What is your message? And being vocal through your organic channels is going to get you further than boosting a paid ad, because that has to be done first. If somebody sees a paid ad for something, and I do this all the time, I'll go, is this legit? And I'll click, especially on Instagram, I'll click on their profile and I'm scrolling their feed, right? And I'm going, they don't even have anything in the organic feed. Like, how do I know this is real, right? How do I think this is legit? Like, I want to see, they're going to check your social profiles. They might check 2 or 3 social profiles, and they're going to check your website. They might check Google Business, especially if you're a local business. they're probably going to check your Google business listing or your Yelp listing or your Nextdoor listing. So local businesses specifically have a whole platform, whole network of different types of platforms they should prioritize. Get those all on lock. Okay. Get all of that on lock and then talk about paid ads. That's last, not first.
In your opinion, what are those signs that someone is truly ready to run paid ads? What needs to be in place from a branding or positioning perspective before they start spending money? Like for someone on a tight budget, where do you recommend they focus their energy first? Brand clarity, organic visibility. I know you just touched on that, packaging their offer, or some entry level advertising.
So I like to like a little bit devil's advocate argue on this point because time is money, right? And so if you're thinking, oh, I'm going to go spend $500 on a boosting an Instagram or what have you, what if you spent that time and you wrote an email series? Like that is the value that you're going to get out of that time that you literally sat down and wrote stories for an email series. It's going to cost you because it's going to cost you time, but it's your time. You don't have to outbound that money. So those are tactics that are marketing tactics that should be done first. So do you have a website that you're proud of? Step one. Do you have social media, and pick one platform that you really focus on? Are you strong on LinkedIn? Great. LinkedIn is your go-to. Maybe your audience is TikTok, especially if you're e-commerce and TikTok shop. Then you're going to have a strong business TikTok, right? Then, so if you have this, you have a branded website, you have a strong social media, and you have an email, then I would say, even then I would go, okay, what about founder story? It's kind of mixed in there because it depends on the type of business. Founder stories are super important for e-commerce type businesses because as savvy shoppers, we want to know we're buying from ethically sourced whatever, or we're buying from a founder that's making something totally different. So you have a whole other channel, you have a founder channel. If you're a service business and you are the founder, then you need to be front and center, the face of your business, because that's who they're buying from. So I'm a big proponent of that's what I help my clients do, is be that front and center face and feel confident in their business. So you have a solid website, you got a solid social media presence, you got a solid email list and you're emailing them. Then there's like workshops, there's office hours, there's ways you could be driving people to, again, your time, because you're giving your time. Then maybe ads. Like you gotta do all that other stuff first. And then ads. And then ads is, what are you specifically driving to? Because I find, again, ads could be driving to a high ticket offer, and it's your return on ad spend is going to be difficult because it's a high ticket. If you have a low ticket entry offer, like let's say it's like for me, I do a vitality plan. It's $800. That's like my intro offer. I sit down with people for 2 hours and I go through a full business audit. And then I give them a clear plan on exactly how to get them from where they are to where they want to go. So that's my $800 offer. Like down the road, when I feel like I've been doing all these things, I could drive to that offer. It's like a lower ticket offer. Or I could put ads behind, let's say if I wanted to drive to a workshop, but my workshops are free. So like something like that, where it's a lower barrier of entry. So you're going to see a higher return on ad spend, because mostly you want to get people in your emails, because your emails is your platform agnostic, right? TikTok can go away. We have another 70 at this point. We're at April 9th and we have 75 days left of supposedly having TikTok left. So here you went and invested all this time and effort into TikTok and it could go away. We don't know what's going to happen with social media. Emails are your gold. Okay. Emails are your marketing currency. So making sure that you have that on lock is going to be more beneficial to you than any social media platform.
Let's talk about personal branding and standing out. You say everyone is a personal brand, whether they realize it or not, right?
Yeah.
And can you explain what that really means and how someone can start being intentional about how they're showing up? There's so much noise online, especially in saturated industries. What's your advice for standing out and making your brand not just visible, but memorable?
Yes, I love this question because I was talking about this, for example, with my husband. So my husband works in IT, like totally opposite thing that I do. There's like hardly anyone in IT networking talking on social media. Okay, that's a very open field. I'm like, babe, you could like be the superstar social media, whatever, of like nerding out about IT. All right. There's not a lot of competition, to your point. My field, women in marketing, I mean, it's like gobs of us. And that's amazing, right? I'm happy to be in the field, in the competition that I'm in. That being said, to stand out, to break out, is just saying it more frequently. So I would say that's number one tip. It's consistency. You hear that all the time in social media is it's consistency. I'm learning from other people. So I'm always like trying to be you know, learn from other people and then help my clients do it. So as a personal brand, it's consistency, and it doesn't matter which industry you're in, but consistency. And then the other one is it's about being very raw, being very like honest right now. And this is always changing, right? Gone are the days of what I call like bro neon green. Like if you see you're laughing, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's like no more neon green like sub captions, right? No like fast click through like, B-roll. Okay, that's those days are gone. That had its fad, that's gone. Yes, okay, this is great for us personal brands because nobody has the time to go pay editors to like cut in B-roll of random stuff that had nothing to do with what we were listening to anyway. People want to hear voices and they want to hear authentic, raw, real voices. So even me, as the marketer who had professional photos done and take my own like professional photos, I got audited and told your photos are too pretty, Rhiannon. They're too they're too polished. And I'm like, how do I show up more raw? Like it's hard. It's very hard because at least with the polished photos, I was feeling like, okay, I know I look good. I look good in those photos. Like I'll put those online. I know I look good. I still say do that first. If that's going to get you comfortable online, by all means, it's better to be consistent because that's number one, right? And then number two is the raw, authentic part. So even if it is a photo shoot photo, fine. If that's what you feel comfortable with, do it, but just be consistent with it. And then nowadays it's literally just you on your phone, walking around in front of a window with some good lighting or out on a walk with some good lighting, you and your phone. And that's all it takes. You don't need fancy stuff. You don't need to make it, polished, things like that.
I'm so glad you shared that because a lot of people struggle. A lot of people struggle with showing up consistently online because they're not sure what to say or they worry about just blending in. So, how do you help clients create content that feels authentic and aligned while still attracting the right audience?
That's a great question. So one of the things I do is I help my clients by building them like a chat bot. So using ChatGPT to upload all of their branding materials, their values, their all that stuff so that they can go in and like ask it for hooks and social content ideas. Like give me a video idea about this today. And it could give you a hook, it can give you a thing, it can give you whatever, and it's based off your brand. And I mean AI these days is like so amazing. So with the chatbot, I mean, I went through and redid my whole website. I created my own bot for my own marketing bot and asked it to like review my own website. And I was like, damn, that's better than I even wrote. So I like changed all this copy on my website because my bot was so smart and gave me such great feedback. So now with my ChatGPT bot, I can ask it like, I need, 3 video hooks based off of this idea for a video, and it'll give me the hooks. And then I'm like, oh, okay, great. So I can literally like take these little pieces of script off of my computer, grab my little light and my phone, and then just, shoot a video and upload that. So I would say that that's like an easy tip workaround. You don't need a whole bot for it. Just use ChatGPT, tell it some things about you, and ask it for some hooks. I mean, let's leverage this technology that we have before us. Let it empower you to create content. And again, I think the biggest thing to go back to is like, who cares if you feel like it's been said before? Who cares if you feel like everybody else is saying this and you're just, mimicking everybody else? Who cares? Just say it. Just do it consistently and you're going to see results.
Let's talk about email.
Okay.
Earlier you mentioned email, so let's talk about email.
Great.
It's still one of the most powerful tools out there, but so many people either avoid it or don't use it effectively. What's your approach to sending emails that actually get opened, that actually get read, and lead to action? And what are some do's and don'ts when it comes to email marketing that works?
So the biggest thing that I tell my clients is to focus on story. If your emails are always selling, nobody's going to open your emails. But if you're telling a good story, people are going to want to read it. So just that's like the number one nugget. And people, okay, for example, I had a landscaping client and she was like, Rhiannon, no one is going to read an email from me. I am not going to do it. And I was like, oh, like I think there's so much you can tell. You can tell about this experience that you had, like creating this, because this was like landscape architecture. Okay. So if you're in the Berkeley area, latitude 37-degree landscape and design is like impeccable, amazing artwork. And the story that we told on their website was about positioning them as extending your home. So your backyard, your front yard is an extension of your home. And the artwork that Bernardo would design for his clients was like with steel and wood and water and fire. And he would build these, like a fire pit with rocks. So it's got like, oh my God. I was like, seriously? There's so many stories you could tell about extending people's home and this life that it gave them because it made their square footage bigger and helped their life. And so she wouldn't do it. She would not do it. She would not write the emails. She was like, nope, nobody wants to read my emails. I was like, yes, they do. So you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. But there's stories there. You see what I mean? Like there's a story in everything. I was making a video the other day on LinkedIn and I was like, write a story about your cat. Your cat knocked something over and it made you think about this frustrating thing that happened at work and how that relates to something. Like, seriously, people love that stuff. So it doesn't have to be like so polished. It doesn't have to be like the most groundbreaking something that somebody could read. It's literally just like a moment in your day is an email. So you start thinking of it like that. And even if you set one email a week, that's 52 emails. Okay. So if you can write 52 emails, you just do them again. So you just cycle through them because not everybody's going to open them. So the email that you wrote in February of last year, you can send February of next year and it's going to be okay. Right. Like, and if people did already read it, like it's going to be fine. So that's the first one. Story. Try to write one if you can. Let's say you did them once a month. That's 12 emails. Okay. People can do 12 emails, 12 stories. And then the other thing that I learned about is workflows. So depending on your email platform, I use Flowdesk. I really like, there's a bunch of other tools out there. I'm blanking on them right now. You're in real estate. So you probably have your own
Yes.
tools by your broker, right?
Most real estate brokers offer different technology platforms, different applications that we can use to produce marketing materials, whether it's flyers, postcards, emails, branded websites for the property that we just listed.
Right.
I'm with Berkshire Hathaway, so we have a whole slew of tools at our disposal.
Yes.
And when we list a property, we've got a whole marketing package ready to go.
Yes, exactly. And so with those tools, you can have your your past customers on an email list, and the stories that you can send could be stories about like this listing and like something that happened or somebody that came through that was like so in awe of this or that, or like, I don't know, it could be a story about somebody moving to the town and like getting this experience of this new, place that they were able to find and make a home and then now build a family, right? Like that's a cool story about a client that was able to get something. So taking those and then building out a workflow within your current thing where they're always getting a message from you and they're always getting a story, and then start tracking it. Like, what do your open rates look like? What do the click rates on your emails look like? And I mean, I've written them and they've had like a low, and I say low, but it was like a 20 something percent open rate. And I was like, oh God, what did I do wrong? Like, that's so bad. And then I like do some research and people are like, no, 20% is actually pretty good. And I'm like, really? Because I got like 40% on another email. So it's like, it's so interesting which ones do well, which ones don't do well, testing subject lines, testing. There's so much, everything has testing and everything has analytics. But with clients, what I help them do is come up with storylines. So based off of your brand and then your marketing package and how you're being visible is like a content calendar. So what kind of content should you be writing about? What kind of stories could you be telling? And then how can you like drive that back into what is the marketing thing that you want them to do? And how do you get them like just to be, keep yourself top of mind?
Every successful entrepreneur has had a few stumbles along the way. What's one branding or visibility mistake you made early on that taught you a valuable lesson about how to grow smarter?
Oh, that's a good one. So I, as a marketer, it's like sometimes we don't take our own advice, right? And the beginning of last year, I did connection calls. So my coach taught us a lot about connection calls, using our current network, reaching out to them, saying, "Hey, this is what I do. This is let's connect about business and see how we can help each other in business." I was able to secure 120 connection calls at the beginning of last year. I was so proud of myself. I had talked my business up, doing all of this, getting my pitch down, right? Refining it. I was like on a roll. And then for some reason, I was like, oh, okay, I did that. And I stopped. And to be honest, Q4 hit. I had client work. I was overloaded and it was the holidays. And I just stopped. I stopped being visible there as a solopreneur, and, not having a lot of resources. It just became the bottom of the list. So I came into January of this year with nothing. And it's my own fault. It is literally my own fault because I wasn't being visible. And that was a big lesson to me. That was like, oh my goodness. Okay, Rhiannon, first of all, you didn't listen to yourself. B, you didn't listen to yourself. And C, you didn't listen to yourself. So I would say the biggest learning out of that was like, you always have to be doing, 20%, 25% of your time on being visible, that biz dev. Keep reaching out, keep doing those connection calls, keep doing, here I am doing a podcast, guest interview with you. Like, being visible is part of the job, being a business owner. And that was like a hard lesson to learn. And I learned that one the hard way.
I totally get that. As a realtor, and I've been in it for 20 years, what happens is you get busy.
Mm-hmm.
You've got multiple deals going on. You're doing showings, you're listing properties, you're doing the work, you're working in your business,
Yeah.
and you're busy doing that. And then you kind of forget about working on your business.
Yeah.
So you have to work on your business and in your business at the same time to
Yep.
keep the momentum going.
That's right. That's right. Exactly. Exactly.
You've worked with major brands and now run your own successful agency. What's one thing you wish more business owners understood when it comes to creating a scalable and strategic brand, not just a flashy one?
I would say the biggest thing for me was switching between corporate mindset to business owner mindset through pricing. My initial pricing packages and the way that I thought was on an hourly rate or looking at margins. because that's the way we work in corporate. I had to learn through running my own business that I could package my pricing in a project. And that was like such a mind-blowing thing for me, because it was like, wait a minute, I can say if I build somebody's brand, their website, their emails, their social media, and all of this stuff for them, that is one cost. And like, that's it. It's not like, oh, this is going to take me 3 to 6 months. I'm going to bill you $120 hourly, and like, we'll see what we can do after these many rounds of revisions. No, that's the corporate way of working. That is like big agency way to work. My current way to work is in packages. So you can go to my website. I have a middle package. That's what most people need. I have a downsell. I have an upsell. And I'm clear on my pricing in a package way. Now I do, like I was saying, a vitality plan. So I give you each individual customized plan with one of my 3 packages. And then I create those materials for you and I give it to you, but I do it like all at one time on one individual client. So instead of running concurrent clients like a big agency would and having a roster of clients and I have all of these retainers, I don't work like that. I do a project basis and I do client and then client and then client, and I back them up and I have them slated in my calendar, but I don't run them concurrently. And that was like mind blowing to me, that pivot could be made and that I get to decide that because it's my own business, and that clients are like, oh, I appreciate that. I want to be told that I can have all of this marketing done. You mean in 3 months from now, I'm going to have all this stuff, or whatever? You mean in 2 months, I'm going to have all this stuff? I'm like, yes, in 2 months, you're going to have all this stuff, not 6, 12 months from now. And we're going to iterate 1,000 times and we're going to have all these back and forths. No. And I would say for me as a business owner, mind blowing. But for my clients, they're like, this is so much easier. I much rather work where I know what my fixed cost, fixed timeline, solutions oriented project is going to get me. They're sold. So that's what I teach my clients how to do also. I sell them on my project, and then I teach them so that when their brand is created, their marketing packages are built with those in mind. So I show them how to do it and how to package themselves so that they can be visible with those packages.
Are there any books you've read, or are there any people that you admire that have inspired you and your work?
Oh my gosh, so many. My biggest one, I would say, is my coach, Pia Silva. And she has a coaching program called No BS Agencies. And I love it. I'm such a huge fan of hers, and I have her to thank for a lot of this stuff. I'm an amplifier of her teachings. And then, right now it's the Mel Robbins Let Them book, Let Them theory. I am like devouring that book right now. And it's because it's not just let them, it's let me. And that I did not like understand that part, because like I watch her stuff on social and I'm like, oh, okay. But then I start reading this book and I'm like, wait a minute, this is such a different way to look at it. And she talks about starting her own business. She talks about the failures that she's gone through. She talks about the years that it took to build what she has. Like, she wasn't even 54, I think, until her first book was written. And she started talking on stages at 44. I'm going to be 44 this year. So I was like, okay, okay. All right, Mel, like, she has the #1 podcast like downloaded right now. So I'm like, hell yeah, okay.
I saw that.
Yeah, she beat out her bro competitor pretty recently. I was pretty excited about that personally, but very proud of her. So she's taken this concept, right, and it's like built this business. And she talks a lot about being on social media. She actually talks a lot about the similar things I just talked about with you today, in like showing up, being consistent, and building this brand and being a personal brand, and why it's so important. I mean, you would think it's a marketing book with how much she talks about it, but it's like, oh, she is speaking my language. So yeah, I just highly recommend it for people, not just like your personal relationships, but as a business owner, and her journey of being a business owner. I so identify with it.
For someone listening who's ready to get serious about building a personal brand and becoming more visible, what's the very first step you'd have them take?
So I have a freebie on my website, and it's RhiVive Marketing. So RhiVive Marketing / cash out, cash dash out. And it's my cash out blueprint and how to create packages. So all these packages that I'm talking about, taking your services, building them into packages, what is the value? How do you build them into a high value ticket offer package is in my freebie download. So people can come to my website, and that's the best way to start.
And I'll make sure that's in the show notes.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Rhiannon. This conversation with you has been packed with so much valuable insight on marketing, branding, and scaling a business the right way. If you're serious about standing out, attracting the right clients, and making your marketing actually work for you, take action on what you've learned today. Rhiannon, for those who want to dive deeper and learn more from you, please share your social media links. Let people know the best place for them to find you, connect, and work with you.
Yeah, fantastic. So she'll have the link to my cash out freebie there, and you can find me on Instagram at Rhiannon Revives Your Biz, and that'll be in there too. But DM me. I know a lot of people feel a little intimidated to post on my stuff, so DM me because I'm open to any conversations.
And to all our listeners, if you enjoyed today's episode, please like, share, and follow The Pauline Chilton Show on your favorite podcast players, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and X. Your support helps us continue bringing you powerhouse guests like Rhiannon. Head over to thepaulineshow.com to support the podcast, grab some merch, and stay updated on everything we're building. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the next episode.